Okay, so today we're going to look at something called solving with U substitution. So if we have the problem sine of 2x equals 1/2. So if we were doing what we did a couple days ago, if I covered up this 2, you would just have x. So then you could go to your unit circle, see where sine is 1/2, you have your two answers. But now we have this 2x in here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this 2x, I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm just going to say that 2x equals u. I'm not sure really why they use the variable u, but it's just a universal thing. So if you were to look up u substitution on YouTube, you would find this or something similar. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this u and we're going to put it into this equation. So we're going to substitute. So we are going to write sine of u equals 1/2. Okay, so now we're just going to solve like we did a couple days ago. So if you go to your unit circle and you find sine, so you want to know where sine is 1/2, which is your y value. So we are going to have u equals pi over 6. And then don't forget the plus 2 pi n. So this 2 pi n is just meaning that you can go around the circle n number of times and you'll hit every single time where it's the same as pi over 6. And then we also have u equals 5 pi over 6 plus 2 pi n. Okay, but we're not solving for u. We're solving for x. So now what we do is we take this 2x and we put it back in for u. So we have 2x equals pi over 6 plus 2 pi n, and 2x equals pi over, or 5 pi over 6 plus 2 pi n. And then we just need to solve. So we need to divide both sides by 2. And we get x equals, dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2, so this is going to be pi over 12. And then divide this by 2, so we have plus pi n. And then over here, I don't know why I don't have an equal sign. Divide by 2, so we get x equals 5 pi over 12 plus pi times n. And those are our two answers. So some of you might be sitting there thinking, well, why do I have to substitute twice? I probably could have done that without substituting the first time. You're probably right. So like I could have just taken this 2x and putting it here and solved. But once you get more complicated things that aren't 2x or like more complicated than 2x, it's a lot easier to just look at a single variable instead of all the stuff that's in there. All right, so let's do another one. So this one is from your homework. So this is a homework problem. So right away, you should notice that this says degrees. So if in the original problem you have something that says degrees, you're going to keep everything in degrees. I know I said we want everything in radians. We do, unless it already tells you it wants degrees. Okay, so we are going to take x plus 30, and we're going to set that equal to u. So it's the same thing we did on the last problem, so we'll substitute that in. So we have 2 cosine of u equals 1. Then we need to divide by 2, so we get cosine of u equals 1/2. If you go to your unit circle, we want to find where cosine is 1/2. So cosine is your x value. So we have this one. And don't forget, we don't want radians this time, we want degrees. So we have 60 degrees. And then we are also going to have, what am I looking for? Cosine, which is x, 5 pi over 3. Not 5 pi over 3, we want degrees, so we have 300 degrees. So we have u equals, I already forget what I said, 30 degrees. and we have u equals 300 degrees. So in this problem up here, we did plus 2 pi n, but that's in radians. So 2 pi n is the same as what in degrees? That'd be 360. So we have plus 360 degrees times n. And we have plus 360 degrees times n. And I remembered wrong. This was supposed to be 60. I said it the first time, and then I went back and looked, and I wrote the wrong thing. So that should be 60. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have 60 plus 360n and 300 plus 360n. Okay, but we're not trying to solve for u. We're trying to solve for x. So now we need to substitute back in. So we will have x plus 30 equals 60 plus 360 degrees times n. And we'll have x plus 30 equals 300 plus 360 degrees times n. Okay, and then you just need to subtract 30 from both sides. So we will have x equals, subtract 30 from here, and you get 30 plus 360 degrees times n. And x equals 270 degrees plus 360 n. And these are your two answers. Okay, the next one is using tangent. This is also from your homework. So we'll do the same thing we've been doing. We'll take 3x, and we'll set that equal to u. And then we'll take this u and substitute it in. So we have the square root of 3 times tangent of u equals 1. Divide both sides by square root of 3. So we have tangent of u equals 1 over square root of 3. So if you haven't done this already, I actually really suggest doing it. On your unit circle that you filled out last week, I would suggest putting in what all of your tangents are. So because I already know the answer, if you were to take, remember tangent is sine over cosine. So if we take sine, so 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2, that's the same as multiplying by this reciprocal. So this is the same as multiplying by 2 over square root of 3. So cross that out. And then these cross out and you're left with 1 over square root of 3. So I would actually go around and do this on all of them. That'll make it easier when you're doing tangents. So 1 over square root of 3 is at, we want radians, so that's at pi over 6. So we know that u equals pi over 6. So remember, when you're working with tangent, you only have to find one answer on your unit circle, and then you add pi times n. Okay, but we are not solving for u, we are trying to solve for x. So we need to substitute this 3x back in. So we'll have 3x equals pi over 6 plus pi times n. Divide both sides by 3. Dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by a third. So we will have x equals pi over 18 plus, divide this by 3, pi n over 3. And that is our answer. All right, and that is all you have for today.